So let's go ahead and get started by creating the actual page where the tables are going to lay, and then we'll put some data in there so that you can see what it looks like without tables, and then we'll put some data, then we'll format the data so that you can see what it looks like with tables. It's going to be a pretty short video. It shouldn't take us very long, but this is one of the most creative tools that you can use in the HTML environment to get things laid out and positioned exactly where you want them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump into here and we're going to go into content editing, page management, and again we're using iControl WebStudio here. We're going to go ahead and create a page called employees. It's pretty basic and pretty simple stuff here. We're just going to leave all these settings. We're not going to get into this. Next week we're going to talk more about what iControl WebStudio is and how it can be used and what features does it offer the do-it-yourself web designers. So we'll go into the edit the page. We'll fire up the object. And so here's the editor. Let's go ahead and open the source all the way up so that we can see what's going on. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and copy over some text that I've already got pre-written. It's got 2 employees in here. We'll go ahead and paste this in. Okay, it's that simple. We'll go ahead and save it. And since we're here, we might as well go ahead and preview it. So in iControl, you have to finish it and then you have to activate it. It's not live on the internet until it's activated. So we'll activate that really quick. And we'll view it. There it is, folks. Page is done created. It's already there. And yes, iControl is that easy. But now the subject of this video is tables. So let's go format this page and get it into something that actually looks nicer to the public. So we'll go back here. Now we'll actually edit it. Going back to the object. We'll go ahead and expand it. So the first thing I'm going to do is do some basic formatting here. Okay, so we have 2 people and 2 bios here. So the first thing I'm going to do is move this down out of the way and insert a table. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, say, 2 rows and a couple columns. So we'll just make this pretty simple. So 3 rows, 1, 2, 3. That'll probably work. We'll go ahead and set the width to, say, 90%. That way it doesn't fill up the whole page. Columns is 2. That'll probably do fine. I'm going to go ahead and add just a couple more rows here just to have them. We don't want any borders. No cell spacing. We'll go ahead. I like to have a little bit of padding, so let's go ahead and put in 5. And okay, so there's our table. Here's our row. Kind of looks like an Excel spreadsheet. Pretty simple stuff, but it is what it is. So we're going to drag up the titles. And I think what I'm going to do is break these out. Just like so. Now if you notice, tables cells are going in a bunch of different directions. So the first thing I'm going to do is right click, go onto the cell, go to cell properties, and tell it I want it to be 50% of the width. Since I have 2, word wrap is fine. We'll say OK. Now that'll force this cell to be 50%, and by default this cell will also be 50%. So let's get Susan's information here. And we'll drop it into this table here. We'll get John's information here. We'll drag it up and drop it to here. Now the other thing that I'm going to do is, because the bios might be a little bit different in size, I'm going to tell the system that I want to make sure that the content of each one of these cells is forced to the top, so it keeps everything nice and clean and level. And here's an example of what that would look like. See how Susan's bio is going down? By default, tables are going to try and put it all in the center. So let's go back up to here, right click on the cell, go back to cell properties, tell it to be vertical aligned to the top, say OK. We'll do the same thing with John's, cell properties, vertical line to the top. So now everything stays to the top. Everything's formatted nice and neat and nice and pretty. And I can tell right now that I'm not going to need these, so I'm going to go ahead and go to row and delete these rows. I don't need them anymore. I'm just right clicking and selecting delete rows. Get these out of the way. Now let's go ahead and format this a little bit. Let's pick heading 3. Heading 3. Let's go ahead and bold. We'll go ahead and bold this as well. Since we're here, let's go ahead and drop an image in. Nice to have a little picture with it. So we'll go to the upload tool, we'll hit browse. There's Susan's. Send it to the server. Pretty good. Okay, we'll say borders equals 0 and we'll align it to the left. Say OK. Come over here and get John's. Upload his to the server. And we'll align it to the left as well. And say OK. And save the page. And preview it. Okay, now it's lined out. It's really that simple. If we want to get a little bit more creative with the tables, we can, let's format this a little bit more. Let's take the table and let's make it a little bit smaller and let's go ahead and center it on the page. First thing we're going to do is go to Table Properties and set alignment to the center. And let's shrink this up to, say, 70%. Okay, that looks a little bit nicer. Now, let's go ahead and take the formatting out of here. We'll just erase that formatting real quick. Take it out of here. And let's set that back to normal. Back to normal. Alright, we'll change the cell color. Let's see, cell properties, background color. We'll make it the same as the red. Come back over here. Cell properties, background color is the red. Okay, let's go ahead and change our font color as well. We'll change that to white. Let's go ahead and bold it and center it. Change it to white. Bold it and center it. And save. Let's see what we got. Okay, now we need to split this up a little bit, and we're almost there. So we'll come back over here. Let's go ahead and add a divider between here. We're just going to add another column. So we'll insert a column after. We'll set this column to, say, 5%. So we'll go to Cell Properties. Width is going to be 5%, just to give it a little bit of space. We'll change these. Actually, we'll go back and do 64, so we'll do 47% here. We'll give this one 6%. And we'll do 47 over here. And let's set this background. Let's erase it actually. And hit save. So what do we have? Oh, we got to tell that not to wrap. Should have seen that. There's a setting called no wrap. Word wrap is yes. We'll say word wrap is no. So now that's cleaned up. You know, one little thing we might try to do is let's go ahead and put a border around our image. Just a nice small one. See what that looks like? Tell it one border. Just to add some definition to it. Image properties, border equals 1. And let's save that and preview it. Okay, let's take a look at that. Pretty simple and clean. And we're good to go. That's all there is to tables.